This is the ZL906 Pro, and it's an inexpensive beginner drone. Typically, it's about $130. You can get it from Banggood for $118. We've got discounts down below, but let's talk about really what this is. And it looks a whole lot like the ZL Beast. And that makes sense since they're both from the same company. It is a smaller version of the popular Beast lineup. Now the Beast drone, they come in somewhere between $150 and $200, but like I said, you can get this thing for less than $120. There are some pretty important differences and things you need to understand if you're looking at this smaller drone. Now, one of those differences is this one is a brushed motor drone, and if you don't know what that is, stay tuned because that's kind of a big deal. Now first, let's talk about this camera. Now I think the camera, the actual camera, is the same whether you get the 906 or the 907. This is the 907, remember. Now they say it's 4K capable and it takes 4K photos. The videos are basically 1080, although it's some strange aspect ratio. You'll kind of see that. You kind of have to crop it to get it full screen. So it's not really a 4K camera, and I think 4K is kind of a misnomer. It's not the important stat, right? What you really want to look for is sensor size and bit rate. Really, we'll just show you the quality coming out of this, and you can kind of decide for yourself. Now, the other thing that's important to understand is these motors are brushed motors. Now, brushed, brushless, what's the difference? Well, a brushed motor isn't quite as efficient, right? That means it's not going to be as powerful and you're not going to get the flight times that you would with a brush motor drone. That said, they're also less expensive, and that's the big reason why this is a cheaper drone. Now, ZLL makes a good beginner drone if you're just kind of looking for something to learn how to fly. This thing has GPS, it has orbit, it has follow me. Now, we tested those modes and they work most of the time. And that's pretty much par for the course when it comes to most drones in this price range. If you're going to spend less than $200, you're going to get something that flies. The flight modes, they'll work when they kind of feel like it, but otherwise don't expect to get something that you can go out there and take professional style photos or videos. You know, this is a toy, this is a learning tool, this is something to get started with, but this is not something that you want to start as a professional with. You're going to need something like a DJI Mavic or maybe an Autel Evo. But that doesn't mean this is a bad drone. I do like this for what it is, a beginner drone. Now, I also want to let you know there are some limitations of this drone. So if you're one of those people that doesn't like to hear bad things, turn away, because I give them all to you, good, bad, ugly, and this thing does have some ugly. Now, I can control this gimbal up and down from my remote controller, but only until I take off. I have no idea why that is. I tried it through the app, I tried it through the remote, I tried multiple batteries, I tried it different times. It just wasn't having it. So that is a pretty big limitation. Now, could that just be my drone? Yeah, it absolutely could be. You know, ZLL and companies like this aren't known for their quality control, so some of their products work a little bit better than others. The other thing is the video quality. Now, yes, it is on a gimbal and that does help with some of the stabilization, but this being a smaller drone and brushed motor drone, it just isn't powerful enough to handle some of the shakes and the vibrations that you get when you're flying, especially on a windy day. So I found the video to be fairly shaky. Now pictures, that's a different story, right? You just snap a photo and that works out okay. But you know, if you're looking for something to take video, I don't know if this is where I would go. Now, speaking of video and pictures, I found it difficult to get them to save to the SD card. I don't know why. Sometimes they did, sometimes they didn't. I tried a couple of different SD cards and I kind of found the same thing. I tried recording through the app. I tried recording using the remote. I don't know. They always save to my phone, so I did get that image, but the image is going to be better coming off of the SD card, which isn't included. You're going to have to provide your own. So when it comes down to it, would I recommend this? Well, for $118, it's not a bad buy. You do get GPS stability. The follow me is fun, although I kind of have a hard time using the follow me with the shaky video. Again, personal preference. But so, as a tool to learn how to fly, sure. You're thinking about, do I really want to spend money on a Mavic? I want to try something first. Yeah, this is a decent option there. But there are some other options you may want to consider. Let's talk about this. This is the Rise Tello, and you can get one of these for less than $100. Again, it has the brushed motors, but the image is actually stabilized electronically, and it does a pretty good job. I would say it's actually a little better than that 2-axis gimbal. This does not have GPS, but it does have GPS stability and a handful of intelligent flight modes that kind of mimic that. You can also program this thing to fly autonomously from your computer or from an app. So if you want something for less than $100, this is a good beginner drone. Or if you want to spend a little bit more and still stay under the $200 range, I do like the Beast, the 906 version with the brushless motors, right? More powerful, it'll fly further. The camera is stabilized just a little bit better. I also like the MJX Bugs lineup. The 12 and the 20 do a really nice job. Those also, like the Tello, are electronically stabilized. But if you want this 907 Pro, there's also a Max version that has a 3-axis gimbal. I'd probably avoid that. Yes, it's a little bit better, but again, with these brushed motors, it's gonna have a hard time stabilizing your video. So this thing is a decent drone. You're gonna get about 500 meters of range and a flight time that's up to 14 minutes. Mine were right around 10 or so kind of keep that in mind. You fly this thing with a remote that you get. It's nice. It has some telemetry and some information right there on the LCD screen, and then you connect this via an app so you can kind of see that video. So it's a good beginner drone, but I'm not so sure that is the best option. Right? Kind of depends on what you're looking for. One more small gripe that I have is this battery just never seemed to connect or to snap into place. So I could always just kind of pop it right off. No matter how hard I push, it just didn't ever click into place. And while I'm not going to flip this thing upside down and gravity will hold it in there, it just isn't something that I'm super keen about. Again, quality control. Now this thing also is 285 grams, which means you do have to register it, right? Something like the Mavic Mini or the Mini 2 is under 250 grams, so you don't have to register that with the FAA. Save you $5. And I just feel like that was kind of a lazy move by ZLL. If this thing was under 250 grams, then I'd really probably consider recommending it, because then it's in that category where you don't have to log in, spend your $5 and register this thing to fly it. It just seems kind of like a waste. I'm pretty sure they could have knocked off 35 grams somewhere. And we got these LEDs in the front that we don't need. In the back, maybe you'd probably want that one. But there seems to be a lot of extra plastic in the design here that they could have probably shaved off somehow, especially with the brushed motors, because those are saving some weight as well. Anyway, it's a fun little drone. It's crashable, it's durable, and it's fun to fly, but it's not a perfect model, so keep that in mind. Anyway, I hope this was helpful. If you haven't already, check us out on halfchrome.com. If you liked the video, give us a thumbs up and click that notification bell so that you know when we're dropping new videos. Now, Banggood did send this to us, and that's why we have a code, again, for this in the video description down below. But also, they sent us some other codes, so if you're looking for discounts, make sure you look in there for Banggood deals, because they're having a sale, and this is just kind of helping them kick it off. We do give away drones once a month to a lucky Patreon, so if you want information, you guessed it, video description down below. Hey, good luck everyone, and happy flying.